Hello and welcome to Jazz Guitar Chord Melody, Part 16. Hi, this is Mike Hayes, and just a quick reminder before we get started. If this is the first video you've seen in this series, there's a link in the description below to all the previous Jazz Guitar Chord Melody videos. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, so you'll be notified just as soon as the latest video is available. In this session, we're going to continue to work on our arrangement of Deck the Hall, and we're going to pick up our work on the arrangement from bar 5. But before we do, let's have a quick recap by listening to where we're up to from the last session. Here's the first 4 bars of our arrangement so far. Right, that should sound familiar. Now moving on to bars 5 and 6, and this is where we're going to use the passing chord style of arrangement. Then on to bars 7 and 8. Now of course the melody in bars 7 and 8 is exactly the same as the melody in bars 3 and 4. Only this time what I'm going to do is use our interval of a tenth just to add a little bit of variety to this section of the arrangement. So let's have a listen to bars 7 and 8 played in tenths. Okay, so as you can hear, you get quite a different effect when you have a different interval under the same melody. With the last note in bar 8, that's the note G, I played a G chord under that note. And you'll see the particular voicing that I played on the screen at the moment. This G chord does not contain a third, and I've played this chord under the last note just to bring that phrase to a close, in the same way that I played a fourth under the G note in bar 4 on the first line. Now let's have a listen to the first 8 bars just to see how everything's blending together. And now the same 8 bars at a faster tempo. Right then, we've got the first 8 bars of our arrangement up and running. Time to tackle the B section. In many ways, coming up with a chord melody arrangement on guitar is largely an exercise in problem solving, because we've got to try and find a solution harmony-wise that matches with the sounds that we're hearing in our head. So quite often we have to use a mixture of techniques. It's important to keep in mind that no one single approach is the answer to producing a satisfactory arrangement. Now, case in point is the first bar in the B section. If we have a look at the notes and the chord on top of the melody, so it's basically a bar of D seventh. Now, if I was going to try and approach the harmonisation of this melody for this bar, if I was going to try and use the 7th diminished scale, the 7th diminished scale for D7th would contain the notes D, E, F sharp, G, A sharp, C, and C sharp. Now the problem is the melody note that's the real issue here is the note B, because as you can see in the 7th diminished scale for D7th, it doesn't allow for the note B. So I have no problems with the A and the C. Those notes are contained in the D7th chord. So what I'm going to do here is think outside of the normal way of doing it with our 7th diminished scale, and I'm actually going to treat this bar as being in the key of G major and just use a straight D mixolydian scale, which would be D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C. Now, if I think about this bar as being totally in the key of G and use the demystified mode, I can harmonise the B note with a B diminished chord. And the rule for that is that you can harmonise a scale-wise approach note with a diminished chord. So in this instance, the chord tone note is the C, and the B note is approaching that C note. So I'm going to use a D7th chord under the A note. I'm going to use a B diminished chord under the B, and I'm going to use a D7th chord under the C, and also a D7th chord under the last note, the note A. So that's why it's good to always have a number of approaches in your sonic toolbox. It's very much like a good tradesman would have a selection of tools, and some of those tools they would only use occasionally, but having the right tool for that job makes their job easier. And that's the same with us when we're creating a chord melody arrangement. Just knowing that we can harmonise a scale-wise approach note with a diminished chord has got me out of that problem in that first bar. Right then, let's move on to the second bar of the B section, and here I'm going to revert back to the normal major 6th diminished scale approach. Under the B note I'll play G6, under the C note I'll play a C diminished, under the D note I'll play a G6, and with the A note this time I'm going to play a D7th chord. Let's have a listen to those two bars. Okay, let's move on to bars 3 and 4 of the B section. In bar 3, under the B note, I'm going to play a G6th. For the C sharp note and the D note, the next two notes, I'm going to use 6/9 chords. Now, the 6/9 chords are from the pentatonic scales. I'm going to deal with them in a future lesson. So at the moment, I'm just going to use them, and I'll explain their usage in that in a future session. Under the E note, I'm going to play a G6th chord. Under the F sharp note, I'll play an F sharp diminished, and under the G note, the last note in the third bar, I'll play a G6. In bar 4, under the F sharp note, I'm going to play D7th. Under the E note, I'm going to play an A9th, the top part of an A9th chord, and then under the D note, I'm going to play a D9th. These are just my own personal choices. You could play many chords under these notes. It's just a matter of finding the sound you're hearing in your head. Let's have a listen to the third and fourth bar of the B section. And now let's have a listen to how the 4 bars of the B section work together. Okay, so you can hear our arrangement is starting to come together. We'll be developing some of these ideas a lot further in the next session. Don't forget, if you've got any questions or comments, to pop them in the comments section below the video. And as always, I look forward to catching up with you again next time. Bye for now.